Hello and welcome to the Thank You for Knitting YouTube channel. So today's video is one that I'm very excited about. This is my frog or finish for 2026. Briefly, frog or finish is something that I started doing several years ago. It's just something I started on my own. I used to do it every December, and the idea was that in the month of December, whatever WIPs I had from the year that were hanging around, unfinished projects, things that had been sitting around for a while, that for the month of December, I would tackle those WIPs. And the goal is to either frog or finish everything. So if it's not finished by December 31st, by the end of the year, then I would frog it. And then I could enter into the new year with just a fresh, clean slate. I love doing this every year because I think that when things are sitting there for a long time untouched, they kind of have a little bit of space in the back of my mind, and it can kind of weigh you down just a little bit, especially if you're thinking about starting new projects, but you know you have 10 WIPs lying around. It can be just this little bit of pressure in the back of your mind. And I also like the challenge because if I have a WIP that's been sitting there for a while and I come right down to my frog or finish challenge, if I look at that thing and I'm not interested in it and it's been sitting there for, up to a year, then if I'm not interested in it now, I may never be interested in it. And so frogging it out is actually a huge relief. So I am definitely a pro frogging knitter. It's one of those things where when you look at a project that you've started, it's so hard not to think about all the work that's already gone into it, but it's a bit of a fallacy. I think they call it the sunk cost fallacy, where let's say you buy something and you spend a lot of money on it and then you don't really like it and then you feel like you have to keep it because of the money that was spent, but the money was already spent. It's over. There's no way to get that money back. And I feel the same way about knitting. You can look at a half-finished sweater and think, oh, it took so many hours of work that I already put into it. But if I don't like it, I don't want it, I'm not interested in it, those hours that I already spent, I'm not going to get those hours back just by forcing myself to finish it. And in fact, what I find invariably is that when I decide I want to frog a project, before you frog it, it feels really painful because you're looking at all this hard work you did. It feels stressful. You hate the idea of ripping out all your hard work. But then when you actually go through with it, I always immediately feel better. Immediately feel kind of just that little bit of weight lifted from that languishing WIP. So I highly recommend having an inventory. If you're like me, if you can have 20 WIPs and they don't stress you out at all, go for it. But if they're starting to stress you out, I highly recommend sitting down, taking an inventory, and just making some decisions. Am I not interested in this item? Has it been sitting there for 8 months? Why don't I just rip it out and move on, It feels really, really good to do that. So that is the basics of what my frog or finish challenge is. And I decided this year to push it into January instead of December, just because the lead up to the holiday season was very busy here at the shop, was very busy for me personally. I was just working a lot. I didn't have a lot of time. And then towards the second half of December, we had friends come to visit, and I was so excited to see those friends. I just wanted to spend as much time as I could with them, so I didn't do a lot of knitting, and I didn't want to have to think about the frog or finish challenge during that time either. So that might start to be a tradition. This might become a January project. The plan with this video is to take the whole month and film little clips of my progress. And I'm just going to put the video out all at once at the end of the month. I currently have 11 WIPs, and I think 2 of them are actually from previous years. I've never been perfect with my frog or finish, so my aim is to end the month with probably not 0 WIPs, but maybe 2 would be a good goal. So I will shortly switch to a vlog style video where I'll just lay out all my WIPs and I'll show you everything that I've got and kind of go through that. And then, yeah, we'll see how we go throughout the month of January. I suppose if you're watching this video, it won't be until the end of January, but maybe if you're inspired, you could decide to do a frog or finish challenge during the month of February. Either way, thanks for joining me. I've never done this kind of vlog style thing before, but I'm looking forward to it. I always enjoy this challenge, and it'll be fun to try to document it this year and share it with you guys. So thank you for coming along for the ride, and I will talk to you again soon. Okay, so today is day 1 of my Frogger Finish Challenge. It's not actually January 1st, but it's, I believe, January 4th or 5th today. And I've just taken an inventory of all of my current whips. I have 11 at the moment. So I will just quickly run through what they are. Uh-oh, cat in the way. Okay, so my first whip is my oldest whip, which is the Primrose Sweater by Marie Wallin. And this was a kit I bought, I believe, back in 2021 with my sister. We bought the Marie Wallin British Breeds yarn, which is super lovely. It's definitely expensive getting it shipped from overseas. And I just wanted to use her original colors because I thought they were put together so beautifully. This is my absolutely oldest whip because it's been going on for, I think, yeah, more than 3 years now, which is not great, but with all of these colors and all the ends I've woven in, there's no way I would ever frog it. And you can see a sample of how many ends there are. You are constantly changing color. And so one of the annoying things about this project is the amount of ends. I also do not really enjoy doing color work on small circumferences. As you can see, I'm on one of the sleeves, but I really haven't made progress in that in a really long time. So it's just been in limbo for so long, can't be frogged, and hopefully will someday be finished. My next whip is the Honeycomb Cardigan. I'm using the Zelana Rimu yarn, which is an absolutely beautiful possum merino in the color flax. They gifted me this for the project. Thank you so much. I feel a little guilty that I've let this project go for so long, but this was the cardigan that I was working on in our Kiwi Make-Along this year. It's all covered in cables and texture. It's super beautiful. There are pockets in the front. So I've completed the entire body section. I just need to work on the sleeves and the edgings, but when summer was coming, I just put it down and haven't touched it since, so hopefully I'll pick that back up. My third whip is also a pretty long-term whip. I believe I started this 2 years ago, and I've only gotten the neck finished, but I just haven't wanted to frog the neck. So this pattern is, I can't remember right now what it's called. I will pop a note on the screen. It's a beautiful colorwork jumper, and I have these really lovely long distance yarns, and I don't know why. I don't know why I haven't really made any progress on this. I did the neck. I like the rolled edge on the top of the ribbing. The instructions for how to split for the raglan was kind of confusing, but I just put it down and haven't picked it up in more than a year. So this is another one I'm not sure what to do with. I'm essentially treating it almost as if it's not even been started, but I don't really want to frog the neck because it was knit on all these different needle sizes, and why would I frog all that ribbing if I was just going to redo it? So that's another one that we'll see what happens. Over here is another pretty old whip. It is a design that I was working on in 2 strands of the Seta Surrey alpaca silk yarn. I really like the sleeve kind of shaping that I was doing, and the plan and the general vision for the design I really love. I've completed the entire body. I just have to knit the sleeves, but part of the problem with this one is I really don't like these colors. I don't know why I chose them. Obviously at the time I liked them, but hey buddy, now I do not. And so it's another one where I kind of want to frog it, but the fluffy yarns might not frog very well. I may just knit the sleeves, but I really don't think it's a color I would wear. So if I do finish it, it would just end up being a shop sample and not something for my wardrobe, which is okay because it's for a design anyway. Next, number 5 is my Metamorphic Sweater. So this is another one where I've completed the entire body. It's all stripes with spin cycle. I'm using our custom color Miss Rumphius, and I'm using this one, I think it's called Verses. I believe the color was Beats and Bears. And yeah, I finished the entire body. I have barely started a sleeve. I think I was not enjoying having to change color every single round, doing those stripes on the small circumference sleeve. It's not a big deal, I just wasn't really enjoying it, so I kind of put it down. Haven't looked at it in a while. I'm also on the fence on whether or not this color would look good on me. It's, if you can see closely, it's got gray twisted up with the acid green, and gray never really looks good on me, so yeah, on the fence on that, but I assume I'll finish it because, like I said, it only needs sleeves. So number 6 is, this one's a bit tragic. This is the Amelie Tee by Petite Knit, but I've changed the stripes to be just super wide stripes. I really, really love the black and the brown, and I'm using the BC Garn Lino. So I was making this partly as a shop sample because we had gotten this yarn in, I think last year for the first time, last summer. And I've made quite a lot of progress on this, but it's been slow going using 100% linen yarn on a 3mm needle. I don't mind the knitting, but it is really slow. The big problem with this is it is way too big. It is so way too big for me. And so even though I've completed the top half of the shirt, I've done all the edges here on the sleeves, the neckline, that's all completed. I just need to work down the body. It's an example of sunk cost where I'm thinking, oh, I've come this far, I may as well finish it. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's going to fit me well. So it might get frogged because I do love these colors and would love to make something that I would actually wear in it. But another option is to just finish it and use it as a shop sample and maybe along the line gift it to someone who it will actually fit better. So we'll see what I do with that. So number 7, this is my lovely, this was a recent whip. I really like this one. I'm using the Yarn Floozy Staunch, which is a yak silk merino base from Katrine. And it's in her black and rainbow colorway, which I think is so pretty. So I just wanted to make a sort of classic basic cardigan with this. It's almost a neutral, but it has all these beautiful colors in it. And the pattern I'm using is Copenhagen Cardigan by Petite Knit, which is quite easy and nice. You apply you make the button band along as you go. It just has ribbing, so you don't have to pick up the button band later. Number 8 is another one that was from this year, which I really like. It is, again, a lot of Petite Knit in my whips, actually. This is the Zipper Sweater Light by Petite Knit. And as you can see, I've also completed the entire body, the bottom ribbing. I even did a tubular bind off, and I did the super long double folded ribbed neckline. So I just have to insert the zipper up here, and then I've just barely started the first sleeve. So no intention to frog that. I really love this one. Love the color, love the pattern. This is also Yarn Floozy yarn in her Machinist and her Mohair, both in the color Galaxy. Number 9 is my Sophie shawl. Wow, again by Petite Knit. And I have this beautiful hand spun yarn, which is 100% Haunui wool. So it's a local New Zealand wool. And I spun this. There's this ball and then one more skein. And the intention is to just make a big brown Sophie shawl and customize the size of the shawl to suit however much yarn I have available. So that's just one that I haven't worked on much. It's an item that I sort of, I want to own, but it's not the most exciting knitting, I guess. So that's my handspun Sophie shawl. 2 more. So number 10 is just a beanie that I cast on for my friend. He actually had a really nice Fjallraven beanie that he lost when we were hiking in Fjordland. And it was this similar kind of dark green color. So I told him I would knit him one to replace it. And this is the Brushtail Possum Merino, Brushtail yarns made here in New Zealand. One of my all-time favorite yarns. I mean, incredibly soft and lovely and amazing. The possum fur just starts to bloom more and more as you wash and wear it. And it's warm, soft, light. And I cast this on December 31st. So it's a new whip and just an easy beanie. And finally, number 11, this is my December socks. So I have this Regia Perfect self-striping yarn. The whole body of the sock is just brown, and then you have different colored stripes on the ankle. But if you have been around and you watch my videos, you know that I had a challenge to do 12 pairs of socks this year. I did finish 11 pairs of socks this year, but this is my 12th pair, which I didn't finish. So let's zoom out and see everything. So this is all my whips, all 11 of them. Most of them I do want to finish. I don't know if I will finish them all in the month of January, but that is my goal. I will check back in as and when I make more decisions or make more progress, and I will see you again soon. I have a sort of surprising project update, and this is my Copenhagen cardigan. This is actually kind of a recent cast on, which I thought was fine, but a couple things happened. The first thing is some of the Knit Night ladies were warning me that working these button bands as you go doesn't always produce the most stable button band. I also realized recently that I have been forgetting to make buttonholes as I go, so I thought, no worries, I can just put on clasps or something at the end, but I don't know if that's ideal. And I don't know, I was just assessing this project today because I was going to pick it up to work on it, and I decided that I don't actually think the yarn and the pattern are a good match. This is a super drapey, silky yarn, and it's a high neck cardigan, which I think might suit a woolly wool better, and I actually think that this silky yarn might look nice in maybe a V-neck cardigan, something of a different style. I don't know. I'm also looking at this and realizing that even though I love this color, it might actually not look that good on me. So I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it is not inspiring me, and I think I'm going to frog it, which is kind of exciting. My first frog of the month. Okay. Oopsies. Okay, so I have just finished 2 of my projects and I'm going to block them. I filled up a sink with pretty hot water. I like to do pretty hot water unless I'm worried about color bleeding or if it's a more delicate yarn, but I like hot water. I think it really helps the fibers to bloom actually. And as long as you don't do any agitation, I've usually found it to be fine, even on, you know, non-superwash wools and stuff like that. I put a little dollop of this, the eucalyptus. My favorite smell is jasmine. And I've got my hand spun scarf, my Sophie scarf, or sorry, it's the Sophie shawl, the big one. Just press it in. And then also depending on if I'm worried about color, I might block things separately, but this is the green hat I'm making for my friend. They're both reasonably dark and I'm just not that worried, so putting them both in the same bath together. And we will let them soak at least until the water is no longer hot. Yay! I thought I would do a quick check-in. So I have finished a couple of things. I finished this beanie for my friend. I tried to stretch it out while blocking it. I'm hoping it's long enough for a nice fold up. I tried to make the top pointier than usual, but I don't know if it's pointy enough. Anyway, finished it. So that's done. And my beautiful hand-spun Sophie shawl is finished, which is very exciting. And that blocked out nice and big and soft and cozy. Oh, it is so squishy. Really happy with that. And then I've been making progress on my socks. So I have finished the first one. Here it is. Yay. I omitted the final stripe of color because I liked it ending where it started. I thought that looked nice. So there's the first sock done, and the second sock is going pretty well. Just the top stripes to finish. So there's two whips finished and one almost finished. Yay! Okay, so this is the most difficult frog of my Frogger finish, and this is kind of the reason I do this, is to sort of hype myself up to do difficult things like this, because this project is one of the projects that has taken the most amount of time and energy already. It's on a 3mm needle and it's a 100% linen yarn, fingering weight, 4-ply, so it's just very fine knitting, and I don't know exactly how many hours have already got into this, but it's been many, many months on and off, and however many hours of knitting. So a lot of work has gone into this. The vision is this black and brown, low contrast, wide striped t-shirt. And yeah, at some point I realized that it's just too big. The sizing is not right. And I've been a little bit in denial, but I've had to face facts that I'm not gonna wear it like this. So I've tried it on so you can see. This is how big it is. I'm wearing a little bit of a loose shirt, so maybe it's harder to tell, but it's it's so big on me that I know I'm not going to want to wear it like this. I've been back and forth for the last couple weeks, and I keep trying to think of reasons not to frog it. Like maybe I can knit it for someone else, but I don't have anyone in mind who would be this size and who would like these colors. I even thought the other day, maybe I can turn these into puff sleeves, and I can do a rapid decrease on this and turn it into almost like a puffy blouse type of shape. But that's not really the vision for this type of fabric or for this shirt. I want it to be more of a classic t-shirt, but I just wanted to show you before I rip it out how big it really is and why this is the right choice. I think this is where I really have to take my own advice. It doesn't matter the time that's already gone into it. I enjoyed the knitting because I like knitting, and I'm gonna feel much better when I can just rip this out and not have it kind of weighing on me anymore. So I'm really glad that I'm actually doing this video on Frog or Finish, because I think knowing that you guys are out there and knowing that I've been hyping up how important it is to frog something if you know you don't like it, knowing that you're there is helping motivate me to do what I know needs to be done, which is to rip this guy out. Okay, so I thought I would just quickly show you how wide this is compared to another knitted t-shirt that fits me. So this is the Anchor summer tee that I made years ago in the studio linen. And yeah, this shirt fits me. And so I've just laid it on top of the Amelie tee, and you can see it's looking weird because it's been in a hanger, but you can see how much wider. I mean, we have, I don't know what that is, like 3 inches on this side plus 3 inches on this side, double that because it's folded over. What is that, 12 inches too big, I would say? So I don't really understand how it got so huge, but here we are. So as I was just saying, I don't know how it got so huge, I realized, you know, obviously I know how it got huge. It's a question of gauge, because I'm a pattern designer. I know that pattern sizing is based entirely on gauge. So my only assumption is that my gauge is way off on this project. And so I just measured it, and it definitely is. So the Amelie tee is meant to have 28 stitches per 4 inches or 10 centimeters, and I'm counting about 24 stitches. So that is 4 stitches off in every 10 centimeter section. Multiply that by however much, and clearly, yeah, my gauge is just off. And look, yeah, should I have gauge swatched? Probably, but no regrets. I'm probably not going to change my ways, but just thought I would quickly show you that, yes, of course, this is too big because my gauge is definitely off. So I've been making a ton of progress on this Inga sweater, and what happened was when I first got this yarn a couple years ago, I wasn't planning on using it for this pattern specifically, so I bought 3 skeins of the green, 3 of the orange, and I think 2 of the white. And as you can see, the main color is green, and the main yarn being used throughout the colorwork motif is the green. And so I have been kind of running out of the green. This is all I have left. It's a little less than 1 50-gram ball. And so I've just switched the color work at the bottom so that the orange is going to be the main color. I don't know if you can see, but where the white is, I've just switched halfway through from green to the orange. And then I'm going to complete one more little motif here of green triangles, then back to orange, and I'll have to do the ribbing in orange on the bottom. I plan to do that same switch on the sleeves. I'm just going to weigh the yarn that I have and see how far I can actually get on the sleeves, because this is quite a limited amount of green, and I'm not sure if I'm going to have to improvise even further. So that's currently my plan for what to do, but I'm really happy with how it's looking. The colors are so pretty. I just wanted to give a quick update on my zipper sweater Light by Petite Knit, which I'm doing in this beautiful galaxy color from Katrine Yarn Floozy. I have finished all of the knitting officially, so the entire garment is done. I'm very happy with it. I've even just knitted the little facing that you do for when you put the zipper in. So after you complete, well, you complete the collar in the beginning, then you knit the whole jumper. Then you come back and you pick up stitches on each side, and you just knit this very thin kind of facing that's going to end up being on the inside of this part, but you will sew the zipper in between the 2 layers of fabric so that it creates a really nice way to basically encase the zipper and keep it quite stable. So I think it's a really great part of this design, and Petite Knit often has really thoughtful details like that that create a professional looking garment. So I've never sewed a zipper into a piece of knitwear before. I'm excited to try it for the first time. I'm currently deciding if I should do a full wet block on this item before I try to insert the zipper, or if I will just do a steam block maybe and then sew in my zipper, but I will keep you updated. Okay, so I wanted to give a quick update on how my Frogger finish is going. Today is the 28th of January, so I only have today and then 29, 30, 31, 3 more days until the end of the month. We're getting very close to the end, so I'm kind of rushing to finish as much as I can before the end of January. Not because there's any real reason, but just because, you know, it's my own personal challenge, and so it kind of motivates me to get as much as I can done. There have been a lot of moments in this month where I've been wanting to cast on something new, but then because I have this challenge, I tell myself, no, I can't. I have to wait until February, and I'm gonna work as hard as I can on my current whips this month. So I wanted to give a quick update as to where I am now that we're so close to the end. I mentioned before that I finished my zipper sweater light completely. I just have to install the zipper, so I'm gonna try to get that done in the next couple of days if I can. And then I suddenly just picked this one up and made a fair bit of progress on this. This is my metamorphic sweater. I decided to do 3/4 length sleeves instead of full sleeves. Now, is this partially because it's quicker? Yeah, for sure. I'm feeling the time crunch, and I wanted to make this quicker by doing the sleeves shorter. But also, I do genuinely think I would enjoy a 3/4 sleeve on this sweater. It's a bit more of a fitted kind of sweater anyway, that's the style. I'm often pushing the sleeves up on my jumpers anyway to get them kind of out of the way because I'm doing stuff with my hands. So I do appreciate having a 3/4 length sleeve jumper, then it just doesn't get in my way. So I decided to go that direction with this one, and I finished the first sleeve last night. So it's, you know, it goes well past my elbow. It's a really comfortable length. I tried it on and I'm happy with it. And then I am just making progress on the second sleeve. So I'm probably almost halfway through that. I think I can finish that tonight. And then this whole one will be done tonight, which is awesome. Then for my Inga sweater, I have completely finished the body. Very happy with it. So I did what I was talking about where I switched the color work at the bottom, and then I made the bottom ribbing in the orange color, which I think looks great. Especially once I do the same orange on the bottom of the sleeves, I think it'll look nice and balanced. So I just have to weigh my green yarn and then see how far I can get on the sleeves, because I am very limited with the green yarn. If I really don't have enough, I'll just see what else is in my stash and kind of throw that in there at the bottom part of the sleeves. But yeah, so body totally done, but I have to still do both sleeves. So I'm a little unsure if I can finish that in the next 3 days or so. I mean, it is quick knitting, but I have all these other things that I'm trying to do as well. So I'll do as much as I can on this one. Even if I'm mostly finished by the end of the month, I'll still be happy with that. And the last whip that needs to be dealt with is my fluffy jumper that I'm making in the Seta Suri yarn. So this is the Seta Suri yarn. I've got these 2 different types of yellow held together to make this color. And yeah, so as I said before, I was planning to frog this potentially, but I don't even want to try to frog this fluffy yarn. It just looks so fluffy. I don't think it'll go well. Even if I can successfully rip it out, I don't think the yarn will be in a good condition at that point. So I think I'll just put a very small number of rows to finish off the sleeve cap thingies, and then pick up stitches for the neckline and have a little bit of a turtley neck. Hopefully that'll be reasonably quick. I'll try to get that done in the next couple of days as well. That is where I'm at with my Frogger finish. Still feeling pretty optimistic that I can end the month with, realistically, it'll be 2 whips plus probably I won't be quite done with my Inga sweater is my best guess. But the fact that it sat there with only a neckline for 2 years and now I've completed the entire body, I'm feeling very good about what I've achieved there. So I will keep filming little clips. I'll try to film when I install the zipper in the zipper sweater light, because I know some people are curious about that process. I've had a few people ask me about that. I've never installed a zipper before, so I'm learning myself as well, but I'll try to show you, I guess, and maybe that'll help you if you're thinking of doing a zipper sweater of some kind. So I'll try to film that, and then once the month is completely done, I will come back again for like a final check-in video and just show you everything and kind of summarize how the process has been and what I have finished with. So that is my check-in as of January 28th. See you soon. Okay, so I've just steam blocked just the zipper area. I was just a little bit too lazy to do the whole wet blocking thing, and I didn't want to take that much time, so I just did put a lot of steam on it to try to kind of flatten it out and open it up in this area as much as I can before putting in the zipper. And then I've sewed down the little lining bits here, as you can see. And it's ready to just insert the zipper in between these two layers, and I will pin it into place before hand sewing it. I have the petite knit zipper. We get them from her and we sell them at the shop. They're all 35 centimeters long, and I like the metal toggle, and I got the brown one because it seemed like the closest match to my sweater. I'm back. So today is February 1st, which means my Forever Finish challenge is over, and this is my final check-in slash wrap-up slash conclusion of the challenge. So I think this might have been my most successful Frogger finish ever, and it's probably because I know that I'm filming it and I know that people are watching it, and so I feel extra accountable to do really well. I won't rehash all the details because obviously I've been filming this whole process, but I started the month with 11 whips, as you know, and I am finishing the month with 3. And one of them doesn't have that much further to go. So I'm feeling really, really good about this result. And in years past, I've achieved something similar, but I've done more frogging. Whereas this year, I've actually only frogged 2 items and I have finished 6. So I am pretty chuffed with finishing 6 old whips in 1 month. And the 3 that I have left, I don't want to frog, but I will try to tackle them sooner than later. I don't want to let them languish for too long. And I have a general goal to not allow them to make it to next year's Frogger finish. So obviously that's a whole year. That's not a very intense goal, but I will try to chip away at those projects throughout the year. I know I've been showing you things throughout, but I think what I'm going to do is just a parade of all 6 of the things that I finished. And then I might talk briefly about overall conclusions and takeaways. Another thing that I'm going to do, which I'm not always that good at, is I'm going to actually try on all of the finished items and show you. And yeah, I won't go super in depth because a lot of these I'm going to talk about in my next podcast episode anyway. So that's where I always give my project updates and I give more details about the yarn and the pattern and all that kind of stuff. So I don't want to do that for the purpose of this video, but I will just try everything on just to show you what I have finished. So first off, the ones I've already showed you. The first finish of Frogger Finish was my handspun Sophie shawl, which I love. Here it is. And yeah, this was in my handspun 100% Hanui wool. Super squishy. This is the undyed natural sheep color. And yeah, I'm just super happy to have a chocolate brown Sophie shawl. I think it's going to be super wearable, easy, cozy, looks good, matches everything for me. So I'm really happy to have this one finished. And it always feels good to have an item to wear that's in my handspun yarn. So handspun Sophie was the first one. My second finished item was this beanie, which is made for a friend. So there it is. This is it if you were gonna wear it slouchy, but the intention is to roll up the cuff and wear it like this. I don't think it came out as pointy as my friend would have been hoping for, so I'm gonna have to workshop how to make a really nice pointy crown in the future, but in the meantime, I do think he'll like the hat. I think he'll like the color, so that is a gift for him. And then these are the socks I finished, which I have now blocked. And I really like the colors on these. The Regia Perfect. So those are very cute and ready to wear. And then I finished, what was next? Ooh, yes. Oh, this one, it's tempting to talk a lot about it, but I'm gonna save it for my next episode. But this is my Zipper Sweater Light by Petite Knit. I'm so happy to have finished it. I think because I was doing the Frogger Finish Challenge, that helped motivate me to sew in the zipper sooner. I know myself, and I probably would have just let it sit there for months before actually sewing in the zipper, but I wanted to fully finish it for the sake of this video. So I'm very happy with this project, man. Now, my microphone is probably going to do weird things while I'm trying these things on, so bear with me. But here's the zipper sweater. I would probably mostly wear it partly zipped like this. You can zip it all the way, which is also really cozy. Or you could even have it fully open, which is nice. But I'm so happy with this. And I think the zipper went pretty well. My biggest takeaway with the zipper is not to overthink it. Ahead of time, I was anticipating having to worry about stretching the zipper or trying to smush the fabric or stretch the fabric or worrying about puckering and all that. And in the end, I just kind of did it without thinking too much. And I think it looks perfectly even at the end. So that was my biggest thing, was just not to overthink it. I did a little bit of seam blocking before sewing in the zipper, but ultimately I did a full wet block after sewing in the zipper, and yeah, I'm happy with how that came out. So first time sewing in a zipper, and we'll definitely do it again. The next finish is my Metamorphic sweater. So I'm really happy this is finally done. This was sitting there for so long without sleeves. I'm still on the fence on whether or not I like the colors, but I'm happy to have it done either way, because if I don't end up wearing it, I can gift it to someone. It's gonna look a little weird over this t-shirt, but I'll try it on anyway. So the sleeves are a little bit weird. I didn't do the increases according to the pattern. I kind of forgot to increase for a while. So I didn't have any, decreases on the sleeves. So I didn't have any decreases until the end. So the sleeves are actually a little puffy. And maybe it's a little bit weird that they're puffy and then short. So I don't know. We'll see how I go. But I do think that the fabric looks really pretty with the colors, and I'm just glad that it's finished. So whether I keep it or gift it, I'm happy it's finished. And if I do gift this one, I would probably knit this pattern again, just in different colors. But yeah, just really happy it's done. Okay, the next finish is one that I'm definitely not planning to wear, but I'm glad that it's at least in a finished form. So it's the Set to Surrey jumper turned into a slip over, and what I did end up doing was picking up stitches on both of the armholes and doing this thin stockinette, slightly rolled edge, and then this same stockinette on the neck. Honestly, I would have preferred a longer neck, but I knew I wasn't going to want to wear this, and so I just got sick of knitting it, honestly. So I knit the neck for about 3 inches and then just bound off with Jenny's stretchy bind off. I was picturing it being kind of floppy and cowl necky, and it's actually a lovely sample, and the fabric is beautiful, but I am pretty confident at this point that I am not going to want to be wearing this color on myself personally, but here it is. So you would wear it like this. So you would wear it over a long sleeve shirt, but here we are. And yeah, it's reasonably long. For my style, I would probably tuck it in at the waist and kind of have it like that. So I don't mind the style, but again, just not my color. That leaves just the 3 whips that I'm ending the month with. And the first one is the one that I have made a ton of progress on. So you may recall that in the beginning of the month, this jumper was literally only a neck line. and I hadn't gone past the neckline at all, and it had sat there for 2 years. So this Frogger finish really helped push me to get into the color work, and I'm really glad. I finished the whole body, and I'm just working away on the first sleeve. I don't love color work in small circumferences. It's just not as enjoyable, but it's moving pretty quickly because it's a big needle. It's a 4.5 millimeters, so it won't take too long. That's how far I am on the first sleeve, and I am going to try to finish the sleeves. I'm not gonna let this languish for too much longer, so I am definitely gonna try to make progress on it. Oh, I suppose I could try it on. So there it is. It's a little bit of a bigger size than I would probably knit if I had started this now, but I started it 2 years ago, so it is gonna be quite loose on the sleeves. And there's the body with the orange bottom and the sleeve, which I am doing decreases on. So yeah, I really like the neckline, and I think it's going to be a really cozy sweater. And my second remaining whip is my honeycomb cardigan, which is the same as it was at the beginning of the month. The body is fully done, and I just have to put on the sleeves and all the finishings. So I definitely need to crack into this one soon, and I plan to. And finally, my primrose sweater, which is also in the exact same position it's been in for a very long time. Here's the body and the start of one sleeve, which has made 0 progress this month. But as I've said before, I'm not going to frog this, not with all that color work. And this is the year I really do want to deal with it. I think maybe a strategy would be to just knit a little bits at a time and maybe set specific goals, because it's not really knitting that I enjoy, so I'm never going to reach for it when I have another project handy that I would enjoy more. But that is it for me. Those are my three whips that I'm going in to the rest of the year with. And in terms of takeaways for this challenge, there has been one major takeaway for me, which is that in my current lifestyle, which is reasonably busy, and I'm running around a lot and I'm doing a lot of different things, I definitely gravitate towards knitting that is easy to grab, easy to pick up and put down, easy to have in the car with me and take with me and things like that. And so it was super obvious to me when I started this challenge that, I mean, the first projects that I finished were the easiest ones. So when I have a bunch of projects at my disposal, I'm pretty much always going to pick the easiest one first. That's why the ones I finished first were like a garter stitch scarf, a plain ribbed beanie, some vanilla socks, and the projects that took the longest were multiple colors of color work or texture with a lot of charts that you have to keep track of. So it's not that those projects are difficult, it's just that with my current lifestyle, I don't gravitate towards the ones where I know I'm going to have to sit down and think about it a little bit before I can get going. So that is probably going to inform what I end up working on this year. And it's interesting because in my Everything I Knit in 2025 video, when I was reflecting on some of the takeaways from that, I was expressing an interest in making more complicated things or making things that are more intricate or less enjoyable because of the finished results. So I guess it's just trying to juggle that balance between what are the items that I want to have and what are the projects that I actually will enjoy working on. And there's a little bit of a disconnect there for sure. I think as long as I do kind of some of both, that'll probably fit in well with the rest of my lifestyle. But I have definitely been knitting a lot more this month than normal. I've been kind of really trying to get as much knitting in as I possibly can, because when I set these challenges for myself, I tend to take them pretty seriously. So I have been just knitting a lot. I mean, finishing 6 projects in a month is a lot, and especially because quite a few of these were barely started. So I've done a lot of knitting. I'm in need of slowing down a little bit right now. I also am craving some super plain, easy projects to cast on because I ran out of my plain projects a couple weeks ago. I have nothing plain. I have no basic sock on the needles, nothing like that. So because it's February 1st, I'm probably gonna do at least 1 or 2 cast-ons today just to get myself going on a couple of easy projects that I can grab. Overall, I don't know if this video is gonna be interesting to people. We're gonna see what it looks like when I actually compile all the footage together, but whether it's interesting or not, I'm grateful to all of you that we've been doing this, because it's definitely motivated me to work really hard on my Frogger finish. Knowing that you guys are out there, knowing that a lot of you are joining me, I just was super motivated to be on top of this challenge. I told myself I wouldn't cast on anything new this past month, and I didn't. I stuck to my word. And a lot of that is because of you guys. So I sort of have this sense that I'm being held accountable, and that's been really nice for me. So yesterday I had finished all those other projects. Like I said, I took the time to sew in the zip on my zipper sweater light. I wove in all the ends. I even grabbed all the projects and I wove in all of my ends. I blocked everything. For me, when I finish the knitting on a project, I consider it done. But then sometimes things sit in a pile. I have this spot in my craft room where there's a little pile of things that are finished, but they either need ends to be sewn in or maybe buttons to be sewed on or something like that. And they will sometimes sit there for a long time without getting done because it just doesn't feel like a priority to me. But because of the Frogger finish, I spent a ton of time yesterday just sitting there and weaving in the ends on everything. Everything is blocked, and that feels really nice. It feels nice to get everything properly finished. So yeah, thank you so much for being there. If you have joined me on this challenge, definitely let me know how it's gone for you. I've been enjoying reading people's comments over the past month, and people are letting me know that they finished something or they frogged something. Someone left a comment saying that they started a jumper for their husband, I think it was, maybe 30 years ago, and then finally finished it, which is amazing. I mean, there's no expiration date on whips, so if you don't get anxious having them lying around for too long, I mean, it's never too late to finish them. But yeah, that is all from me on the Frogger Finish Challenge. I will be filming my next podcast episode soon, so that'll be the next thing coming out. And otherwise, thank you so much for being here, and I will see you again soon. Bye!